You're listening to the RE Social Podcast with your hosts, Andrew and Vince from OnV Invest. For more information, go to onvinvest.com.
What's up, you guys? Welcome to the RE Social Podcast, live from CDMX, Mexico City, with my oldest best friend in United States.
He's not that old.
Well, he's 55, but he looks 35.
I am the oldest in the group.
Yeah. What's up, JK? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's great to finally be here with you guys and having this. How many years overdue is this conversation?
3+ years. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. It's awesome to be here.
Yeah, we've done over 100 now. But for people who don't know who you are, we mostly interview people from real estate, not all the time, but like 90%. So can you tell a little bit about yourself so the listeners can get an idea of what you do?
Sure thing. I run an addiction recovery company called Elevated Recovery. And now we also have expanded into mentorship for men as well. So also run a business called Twenties Mentor. I've been in the addiction recovery space, I like to say seriously, for about 7 years. And altogether, I've been doing it for 13 years. So it started off as a blog, if you remember. And then it became a more serious thing. Yeah. Shh, you can't say the name.
Silence.
And then before that, I spent 11 years in the door-to-door industry, door-to-door sales for Bibles. We were the last of the door-to-door Bible salesmen. You did a couple of years with me, right?
Yeah, 2008 and 9.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for anyone doing door-to-door anything.
It was
massive.
It was a crazy time. They called us hood knockers. Like, I didn't know that till we left, and I met Americans. And Americans were like, like in the solar guys that do solar sales and alarm sales. I was telling them what I did, and they were like, "Damn, so you guys are hood knockers." I was like, "What's a hood knocker?" They're like, your expertise is going into the hood, and you can collect money from people who live in Section 8 housing because you understand everything. You know when their checks come in. You know when they get paid. You'll get the money from the mom before the baby daddy comes in. So we were on top of that shit.
Yeah, JK and I would fight every night. I'm just like, I'm going to fight you today, JK. I'm just like, for no reason.
Over sales?
Like, raging out. I'm just an insane person.
Yeah.
And he had to deal with me for 2 summers. But JK, tell the audience about how that has actually shaped your career, even mine too, I would say, to a certain extent. That, a lot of people have like, oh, you guys are door knockers. There's nothing to learn valuable skills, right? Yep. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think knocking doors was one of the best things that happened to me ever. Because not only was I dealing with a pornography addiction, but I was chronically unemployable. I only got diagnosed with ADHD earlier on this year. So I had no idea that the reason I couldn't...
We had an idea.
Like, this is the funny thing. Everybody's just like, yeah, bro, we knew. Just like, you're weird, but yeah, we knew. But I wasn't doing well in school, have dyscalculia, I can't count. If you guys ask me like, hey bro, how much is this place? What's my answer going to be?
I don't know how to check.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Every time.
I don't know, bro. I don't know how much I paid for it, but somehow I make it. But I had no option. And this guy came along and said there was this opportunity to get out of Wichita, Kansas and go sell door to door. And I was like, okay, if I can travel. He's like, yeah, you can make some money, you make commission, which is a foreign concept to me. So I was like, all right, why not? Let's do it. So I went on to fail epically for the first 4 years doing that, barely making any money. In fact, I made no money. But I got really pissed off, right? Because I was already failing at everything else. And I was like, if I fail at this door-to-door thing, then I am nothing. Like, I am absolutely nothing. So every year I would go back. I would keep going back till 2008. It was like so bad that year. Gas prices were like $5 a gallon, and I got destroyed. So I left that and I went to work at Verizon for a few months. Then I started trying to get into insurance sales. So imagine I would be an insurance sales guy, if not. And one of the guys called me. His name was David Dean. Shout out to David Dean. And he had sold books with a company called the Southwestern Company. Yeah. He ran a very successful business up in New Mexico. He called me, long story short, he said, JK, I'd love to bring you in to build an organization, an insurance sales organization. But I need to know one thing. It's like, how was your last summer? Do you feel you did your best? He's like, that's all I want to know. And I was like, no, sorry, I didn't do my best. He's like, cool. He's like, I'm not going to hire you until you go back and you sell books again and you do your best. Because you cannot go into something that tough and leave it without winning. He's like, it's the hardest thing you will ever do. But if this young you leave and you don't leave on a high note, he's like, you're not going to make it in sales. So at this point, I'd met him. I was dating someone at that point. I recruited both of them as my only rookies, as we call them. We rustled some janky cars together. Like, how much is your car? Like,
Did she come for the first year too with me?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was, we went for, we went out to Oxford, Mississippi. And then, do you remember where you first sold your first summer?
I think Dothan, Alabama, right?
Dothan, Alabama. We were out in the boonies.
Yeah.
And we went out there, and every day for 3.5, 4 months, we worked, 80-hour weeks?
Yeah.
Monday to Saturday, up early in the morning. I was up at 6 to do my P90X. He would wake up. We would head out of the house when the sun was coming out. And we'd return, 8, 9 p.m. every night, every day, Monday through Saturday. Sundays, we'd do our sales meeting and our numbers, pick up new books, come back, rinse and repeat.
Don't forget church's chicken on Sundays.
Oh, my God, dude.
That sounds great right now.
It was actually really fun.
Yeah. It was a good time. So to answer your question, that's the story. But selling books door to door taught me how to build character, right? It built my self-esteem. Your self-esteem is the reputation you have with yourself.
Can I stop you and ask you, I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of rejection and just that cold knock sales stuff, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Personally, been very lucky to not do that. But how does that build your self-esteem? I'm kind of curious as to how you channel that.
Yeah. So what I was saying earlier and that's a really good question, Drew, like you said you're very lucky not to have done that. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. I think everybody should try to get some rejection under their belt. It's a good thing.
That's true. I agree. Yeah. I mean, I did that.
Ego.
I did that in the dating sphere. Obviously, you guys know. In the cold approach thing is not something most people do, but something that I learned to get comfortable with because I was so petrified of women. So I got it to a small degree, and it is tough no matter how experienced you get, no matter how good you get, for sure. Like, it's never easy to take an L on anything. So that's why I'm kind of curious as to how you channel that to a better self-esteem, build character. I can probably fill in the blanks on what I learned in like the cold approach stuff, but how did it come out for you? Because you're crushing it now and, building this amazing brand. I'm sure that served it in some major way. What ways do you think it did?
Oh, man. Okay. I think the rejection thing is something I got over a long time ago because you have to put yourself out there. You had to just shut down that part of yourself that was constantly reactive. And one of the biggest lessons I learned was that people were never saying no to me, right? So when you're not that confident and somebody tells you no, you take it very personally because you haven't dealt with all your inner shit yet. Over time, you come to realize that nobody can really tell you no because nobody knows you well enough. Even your partner, it doesn't matter. Your partner, your mom, you may think or you may say, this person knows me better than anybody, but the truth is you're the only one who knows yourself. And once you realize that, you realize nobody can reject you as a human being because you exist. So what I realized was that they were only rejecting the idea I was representing at the door.
That's powerful.
The moment that I was just like, oh, they're just rejecting the idea, right? Like, and that's true. This isn't some weird reframe where it's just like, yeah, they see me. They could be like, oh, it's a big black guy. It's a this, it's a this, it's a this.
Yep.
But as a big black guy, as a whatever I felt that I was insecure about, I had achieved success in other things. So it was always, what are you doing here? What are you representing? And that's what I'm saying no to.
That reframe right there, I hope that our editor's listening, that is an amazing clip. That, because I find that success and whatever, I've achieved, it is always on the other side of like a big jump. We were just talking about that. Yeah. I'm looking to open a second music school. Not to make this about me, but those big cliffs, those big fear points of like, I just got to do it or I'll just be a loser and stay where I am, which is an option. And that's an option most people take. So I love that reframe. And I hope anyone listening is taking that in and writing notes. That's so amazing what you just said, that you're not taking it to heart as a person because they don't know you, which is true. It's fact. They're rejecting the thought of you, the idea of you, whatever that means. For me, I can relate. I have a home in Costa Mesa and I get door knockers all the time, and I reject people all day. So, and I get it, you know, but I'm never mean about it. I'm always like, bro, stay in this game. This is amazing. I already have solar, but thank you, you know, one of those things. But I have so much respect for just the ability to get out there and reframe everything and stay in the grind and make something of it. So sorry, I didn't want to take over, but I just want to make a point.
It,
that is powerful, bro. Love that.
Yeah. To add to that, I would say outside of the rejection, I think the ability to recruit is another big thing. I'm not a great salesman. I'm the first to say that. I do not pretend to be a great salesman. I'm a person who understands his personality very well. And I think a lot of people, the earlier in life you understand your personality, the easier it is for you. Like sometimes, Vince, you'll say some things about like, you know, shooting content, these people who hold their cameras and do that kind of stuff. Well, you know, like I realized very early on that my superpower was my ability to work with people in a crisis, right? And also my ability to take somebody whose point of view was markedly different from mine, and in a very short period of time, not convince them, but get them to at least see my point of view. So I can get you guys from sitting there, and I'm just like, you guys don't believe me, but behind you, there's this big ass window and there are reflections in it. And there are these bamboo shoots behind you. You're like, nah, bro, I don't know you. I don't need to turn around and look and see what's there. But my superpower is getting you guys by the end of the conversation to be sitting next to me and looking at that. That's it. Just like, I'm like, you see it, right? Oh yeah, I see it. I see it too. And that comes through communication. And I learned that by knocking doors. And what that allowed me to do was, instead of pretending to be good with numbers, instead of pretending to be good at whatever else, it didn't matter what school told me to do. I was like, I am good at communicating in a very specific way. And the moment I started doing just that and doing it shamelessly, it didn't matter what people said. People, oh, bro, that's cringe. That's this. I'm like, maybe it's cringe, but it is what I'm good at. And that would be the second thing that I gained from.
So recruiting, that is kind of the skill of hiring?
That is let me segue into that real quick. Sure. Yeah. So the second thing I learned from that was was what my superpower was, what I was really good at doing. The third thing was the ability to recruit. And the way that relates to it is to recruit somebody to something you need to be able to quickly identify the person's values. You need to be able to quickly identify the person's standards and what is important to them or lack thereof. So if you meet somebody and they claim to have values and standards, but you can have a conversation with them and you find out, you ask them a few questions and they come to realize at the end of the day, oh, I think I have values. I think I value it. And to show them like, hey, like I can help you take this thing that's important to you and I can help you strengthen it. Because people think like, oh, people have values. I'm going to sell them something based on their values. You can't sell something to somebody who's not sure what their values are. At the end of the day, they're going to flake on you because they don't really know what they want. But you can recruit somebody and you can appeal to the little value they have that's at 50%. And you're like, let me help you add 20% to that because I think this is something that's valuable, you know, that you find important, but you really haven't had the opportunity to go deeper into that. So if you come with me or you take advantage of this opportunity, I will take you to this place where you can strengthen what you have. So what you're doing with recruiting is you're sort of entering the conversation in a person's head where they're already at in the conversation. So they're having a conversation with themselves like, oh man, I wish I could do this better. I wish I could do this and this, but there's too much shame or ego to share it with somebody else. But if I can show up and be like, hey, just halfway through that conversation with you, I can get you here, they're more likely to come along with me. And that's what I did. I took people who had no idea what they wanted to do in life or had a little bit of an idea. And I got dozens of them, and Vince can tell you, to buy cars, spend a bunch of money, leave their home states, and travel across the country with me to parts unknown, to sell door to door to people they didn't know.
By the way, no pay, $0 pay.
All commission?
All 100% commission.
That's your true superpower, not sales.
We don't even give you money to start. You have to fund yourself. You have to get your own car. You have to have your own money. You have to do everything.
Very high commission.
And there's no guarantee. You will probably make $0. So you'd be like, well, why did people come? They came because of what we were going to teach them, because we could appeal to the things that they wanted that were intangible. And being able to do that in door to door, and not just do it once. You bring back people to work with you year after year after year. I've had people work with me for 8 years, 7 years, 5 years. And many times they weren't making money. But till today, these are the closest people to me. These are the people, we have our own code, our own language. We are always referring back to our time on the book field, as we call it. And anytime we go through really challenging times, we have something. You have this really strong experience you can go back to, and you can be like, well, I went through that when I was in my 20s. Like I was out in the middle of nowhere. Anything could have happened to me. I was in strangers' homes. Vince used to like go out and sit with guys from the hood and just talk with them. People that even people in that neighborhood wouldn't hang out with. And he would hang out with them all the time till they became cool with him. Literally, that ability.
They'll give us leads too.
Yeah, and they'll just tell you. They're like, yeah, go to that person's house. Yeah, that person, they got money. Yeah, yeah.
There was a guy, I was sleeping in my car because I'm like trying to hit another sale.
Damn.
There's a dude from the hood, he literally pulls a shotgun on me. And I ended up showing him, nah, dude, I'm selling Bibles. He's like, shut up. He's ended up buying like 3 Bibles from my back of my car.
From
and introduced
shotgun
me
in your face to 3 Bible sales.
I was not even scared, 0.5%. I was like, yeah, it's cool, bro.
This makes sense. Just as an anecdote for anyone that doesn't know Vince, I was just saying this last night. You have this engineer brain. You're like super good with math and all that stuff, which is contribute to our real estate stuff. But you have this interesting like charm that most engineer brain guys don't have. You have this like relaxed like ease with yourself, and it comes off on people. I've seen you negotiate. And your whole thing is just like, come on, bro, hook it up. And it's not the words, it's how you say it. I'm totally giving away your juice right now. Yeah. I've watched him negotiate crazy, like half price kind of stuff by just being charming and being like, come on, man, like hook me up. Literally. And I think that's probably where you learned it, was just being in the field. Hey, can you put your mic to your... yeah. Sorry.
We used to tell guys on the book field like Vince that if you were an engineer and you learned how to sell, that you would be able to write your ticket in life.
Unstoppable.
But on top of that, he's not only an engineer and he can sell, but also he's an artist. So he's musically inclined, which simply means that he has access to a range of emotions that most people would not be able to. So it's just like a more sophisticated brain. Then all these little things add up. The ability to speak more than one language and to speak a very complex language. All of these things add up to make you a very, very unique human being. And so when you look at our group as a whole, you realize, oh man, like people have such varied experiences and have stacked up different skill sets. But this is the value of, I would say for the audience, like in your 20s and in your 30s, picking something and going all in. It really doesn't matter. It's just you don't know what the skill set is you're going to get on the other side. For me, it was simple. I was like, I guess I'm never going to make it as anything else, but I think with the ability to sell, I'll always have a job, right? I'll always have a job. I didn't know that selling and recruiting and surviving on the streets, door to door, would help me access resources inside me that I never knew I had. Because when you're selling, let's say, an alarm or solar or anything, most of the other things out there, there's something you can sell. You're selling security, right? You're selling the safety of a family. But when you're selling Bibles, you're selling something that people are like, hey, I can get a Gideon's Bible by opening just the drawer of any hotel in the United States that I stay in. Why do I need to buy a Bible from you? I'm not even Christian, right?
$108.
Yeah.
And this is 20 years ago.
Dude, you're saying $108. It was like $200 with the full set.
This makes no sense to my brain. This sounds like impossible to me, personally.
The first year, I barely... I spoke English, but I'm like literally fresh off a boat. I sold more than $20,000 worth of Bibles.
In 1 year?
In 8 weeks.
And in 1 week, he sold over $5,000 worth of $108 Bibles.
Because this is like, people are listening, hopefully trying to get a little gem. Can you give... This is me selfishly asking you, actually, but for everyone else too. Yeah. My brain can't fathom going from knocking on someone's door to selling a $200 package. Like, what are some of those things that you're using, a tool, if you will, that helps you to make that sale?
JK, you want to take it?
Yeah. Well, first of all, there's doing it cold and there's doing it with a qualified prospect, right? So a qualified prospect is somebody that you've vetted by talking to other people in the community and they've told you this is a very religious person and so on. But I think the important thing to understand is what it is that people want. And selling something like a Bible forces you to go beyond the basics of religion and to go very, very deep. Here's the interesting thing. I'm not a Christian. I was raised as a Catholic, but I believe in God, but I don't follow any organized religion. I don't follow any dogma. But what I did understand is that to these people, the Bible meant something. And I knew that when I would show up to people's door and they were just like, get out of here, man. I don't want no alarm. I don't want this. And I was like, no. They're like, well, what do you have anyway? And I was like, I have a Bible. And immediately these people who are not Christian would be like, oh man, that's a good ministry. That's a good ministry. And I was like, interesting. And I realized that the Bible carried something with it. It didn't mean that they would respect me any better, but they respected what I did, because in the United States, the Bible carries an element of morality with it.
Yeah, totally. Yep.
So I learned how to access that and take advantage of it, which means, like, I'll give you a quick example. Like, you know, you talk to somebody at the door. You're a college student. I was a college student back then. I told them what I was doing. And it's very difficult for them to reject you, first of all, because you're carrying the Bible.
Right.
So a lot of times it's just like, let me just have a conversation with you just for the college credit. It won't take too much time.
Nice.
But as soon as we are inside the house, we are immediately building rapport.
Right.
At speed. So what does rapport at speed means? It means little things. You see their dog, make friends with the dog. Immediately they're like, oh, I like it. Immediately you see pictures, compliment them on pictures. Just like, those your grandkids? Oh my God, how many grandkids do you have?
So now you're no longer a salesman, you're a human being.
Yeah, we're just connecting with them, and we're building rapport really fast, down to where we sit. Like, we're not going to sit on their couch. Why? Because people don't make financial decisions on the couch. They make financial decisions at the dining table.
Oh,
so we would control the entire situation to be in places that were advantageous to us to close the sale.
Nice.
You sit, you have a conversation with them, and you access things that are important to them. You know, like people are like, I don't really need a Bible. And just like, you know, I saw those pictures when I came in. Are those your grandkids? You know, just have a conversation. And they're like, yeah, you know, they're going off to college. I can't believe my baby, or their kid, I can't believe my baby's going off to college. I'm like, what? Can you just tell me something like, what's like the thing that, because I'm a college student, and I know my parents were worried about a lot of things. What are some of the things you're worried about with your kids? I'm just curious. Oh boy, I'm worried about this. And I was just like, okay, cool. Let me tell you something, right? At the end of the conversation, it's just like, you don't need to get this for yourself. And I can see you have a lot of Bibles. You don't need another Bible. But, you know, you're worried about your kid going off to a different states to college, right? And you raise them with certain values. And I just want to plant this seed for you. You don't have to do this. But what better gift to give your child than the Word of God? And it's not about the Bible or whether they read it. It's a reminder.
Now you're a salesman for God. Wow.
Of where they came from and the values they find important to them. Because I'll tell you this, as a college student myself, or as a whatever myself, away from my parents, like, when things got really hard for me, right, the one thing I remember and I went back to are the things that they raised me with. It's like, it doesn't matter. I know, even though I say I'm not a Christian, if I'm drowning, I'm going to be like, God save me. Like, forgive me for all my sins.
Same.
I know that. So I'm like, you want your kid, at least if you know that they have access to the thing they were raised with, it's a wonderful gift. All right.
That's brilliant. So you found a pain point they didn't even know that they consciously had.
Yeah, it's just
for someone else. You're selling it as a gift to someone else. It's amazing.
Yeah, your job in sales is to help people make a decision,
right?
Not to close people on a sale or convince them to do anything. So it's just getting to know another human being,
right? Listening
to them actually, and then connecting it to what you have. And then ethically speaking, obviously, if you don't think that that's the right thing for them,
then move on.
Yeah, don't give it to them. Just leave with good vibes.
Yeah, a couple of points to add to that. That was like more like the holistic approach, right? So he's talking about like the dynamics of the sale and stuff.
Yeah.
But also, for me, I was raised Christian too, just like him, and I believe in God too, kind of like him. So for me, this is not fake at all. I'm like, oh, this is good stuff, you know? And the Bible itself was pretty good. It's the best Bible I've ever had. It's called the Open Bible, right? It's published by Thomas Nelson. I know everything about it, right? And it's, so let's say you're a pastor and you want to teach the congregation on marriage. So you can go to the front of the Bible and you can go down to marriage.
Oh, that's cool.
It'll take you through the Bible.
So it's got like an index for categories.
So you can,
but
it'll teach the topic of marriage.
That's amazing.
So not like that marriage
really cool.
is mentioned. So when you call it out to these people, they're like, this is freaking good. Like, you know, and they'll end up buying it. And they'll buy more, 1 or 2
That's brilliant.
sets of that.
I love what you said, JK, real quick about like you're being authentic and you're not going to sell them on something that, they're not going to get value from. Not to make it about me, but I just finished a 16 video, like 5 quiz module for my sales team. I'm just trying to scale and do that.
Yeah.
And so I'm very good at sales, although I've never done cold. I'm very good at like, if you come to me, it's happening, but only if I feel like I can serve you.
Yeah.
And that's what I teach them in all the modules. I reiterate.
Is this for the school, the music school?
For my music school, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. People don't think about it, but when you call my admin, she's at the front. She's super nice. She's a salesperson.
Oh, nice.
We have a weekly sales meeting.
So everybody in your organization is trained to sell?
Only my admins. The front desk are all actually salespeople and nice faces. And of course, they're going to help you with your calendar or whatever. But we go hard on the sales thing because it's such an important skill. Even when we have a warm lead, you need to help them to understand that there is value in this, that we're bringing you value, and more so than they even know. And the point is I just wanted to make it not about me, but what you said about don't sell people on something they don't want, just move on, qualify leads. That is super, super important. I just literally had a meeting with my admin about that. I was like, hey, that call, you were very pushy. You were kind of just going through the motions. Everything was right. Like everything I trained you to do, it was on. It was pretty on point, right?
Yeah.
But I could tell you were just pushing and you weren't asking them questions and making it about them. Yeah. You weren't really trying to connect them with a teacher. You were just trying to close a sale. Am I wrong? Mm-hmm. And she was bashful, but she's like, we needed some sales. I'm like, I know we need sales. But if you're trying to shove something down someone's throat and not genuinely connect, I promise you're making it hard on yourself. Even if it takes an extra 5 minutes, connect, really see if they have a problem that we can solve, and then close. It's massive. And it's something that because I do authentically, and I've literally on the phone, because I used to do all the sales myself, I've literally Googled other schools for some people, and I've gave them the number. Hey, you know what? Molly's Music is down the street. I think they might be what you're looking for. We don't have that. Give them a call. Tell them Andrew sent you. I literally say I've done this.
I love it. You're giving referrals.
I've
to like
literally
other
done
schools.
this multiple times, and because I do that, it's not about like hoping Molly's Music connects me. I don't care.
Yeah,
it's because I'm now like authentic. I'm living with integrity, and I'm really selling people. And I double down on this with my sales team when I tell them this. I'm like, do this because in the back of your mind, that's planting the seed that's going to make you 10 times better at sales.
I love it.
I'm not going to go any more than that, but I wanted to make sure that the audience hopefully was taking that up. Sales is such a thing that you don't identify as like, I'm not a salesman, but you are crazy good because of just the concepts you have. So, and I feel like we're getting stuck on the Bible thing and the door-to-door. I want to hear like, what was the next couple moves in JK's story? We don't even know like where you're at now. What are you doing now? Like what kind of numbers more or less are you doing? And how did it start? How did it go from Bible sales to where you're at now? Can we go back to that journey?
Have you thought about investing in real estate and taking advantage of all of those benefits without any of the work? That is something that OnV Invest not only provides, but has been providing since its inception. With friends and family, we have built an empire and a system of a wealth generating tool that is giving us and our friends and family that leverage in their life to create true wealth. Go to onvinvest.com for more to see if you qualify. And thanks for listening.
I run a 7-figure business, which is elevated recovery, which is addiction recovery for men who are struggling with sexually compulsive disorders. Now, the reason why I start with the number is because I think the number is important for freedom, right? And I don't think enough people think of the numbers. So as a person with ADHD, I didn't think about numbers because I felt that numbers were difficult, right? And even the way I relate and talk about numbers today are unrelatable for a lot of people. So it comes across as almost irresponsible. And even sometimes when I talk about numbers, I sit down with my CFO and people come in, they're just like, what are you doing, bro? But it doesn't change the fact that we've been doing this at 7 figures or so for going on 6 years now, actually, which is crazy. And I think that it's important when you start doing anything, it's great to do it authentically. But when you get to a certain age, late 20s and your 30s, you have to decide what is the number that you need for your life. And in order to decide that, you have to decide the type of game you're going to play in your life. So it's like, what do you actually want out of life? for me, it's freedom. I always wanted freedom. Like I always wanted freedom from poverty. I grew up with nothing. I wanted freedom to make my own decisions. I wanted freedom to call my own shots. And I wanted freedom. I didn't want anybody to tell me where to go. Now, a lot of people think they want freedom, but when it comes time to set the number for freedom, they're not willing to do it. When it comes time to set the, decide on the sacrifice you're willing to make, people aren't willing to do it. When it comes time to do the third part of that, which is the resolve. Resolve is just like, I'm going to go for this thing and I'm going to go for that number. And no matter what happens, I'm not going to let anybody get in my way. They're not willing to do that either. So the number determines your freedom in these United States or in a capitalist country. And interestingly enough, I didn't get serious about the number till I reached a point where I was almost burnt out. So I was working in sales and recruiting. Over the years, I'd struggled very privately with my behavior with pornography. You know, I realized it was a problem, but like most guys who struggle with porn, you know, it's a weird thing to say that you have a problem with because you think everybody else is doing it. But then you get to a point where you're so dependent on it, you can't get your dick hard, you need porn, you need to watch porn before you get with a girl, and all these things start happening to you. I had to figure out my way privately of dealing with it because I was very ashamed of what I was going through. And then years later, when I had it under control, I come across a forum online where a bunch of guys are struggling with it. And I was hearing the dumbest shit like semen retention and no-fap and all these things. And I was just like, that's not how you overcome this behavior, right? And so I something just clicked in my head. And I was just like, well, what if I can just teach these guys? So I just, you know how you go into certain forums where you know a lot of shit and you're just like there, just like, you guys are idiots. This is the answer to this. I just started doing that every day till it got to the point that people in the forums were like, bro, if you had a blog, we'd read it. So I was like, all right, well, maybe I can try this thing. I'd read the 4-Hour Work Week, and I was just like, maybe I could do something like this. And so I started a blog, and it took off. Like just when I went into it, I would work in the daytime, I would recruit. In the summers, I would sell. In the evenings, I'd come back on my little, I don't know if you guys remember those little netbooks. I'd use my little netbook to build the blog. So I did that for about 2 years, and you guys knew about it. I don't want to say the name of the blog because I actually sold the blog to somebody else. But one year I did the math, and I realized I made $60,000 doing that. And I was like,
just blogging?
Just blogging and selling
Not coaching?
ebooks. Not coaching.
Wow.
I was coaching here and there, but it was just a couple of $100s. But this was just pure.
You're selling ads on the blog, or how do you make money from that?
I had a lot of traffic coming in. I was selling like an ebook product and a course. That was it. So we did like 60K. I did like 60K. And then from there, I just decided that this was something that I really wanted to do. When I left the door-to-door industry, I went all into building it. And there was no example of somebody who would run a successful pornography addiction recovery company. I mean, I looked, but there were rehabs and everything was insurance. So I was just like, fuck it. I'm just going to go all in to this. So it was a couple of very hard years. I think Vince knows about those years. I met you a little bit once I'd made some money. But back then, I remember one trip particularly with Vince, Vivek, and Prashant, who've all been on the podcast. You guys remember y'all were going to go to Vegas? And I didn't make it out.
Totally.
Yeah. There was a trip you guys made to Vegas, and they invited me. And I was like, I can't.
What year was it?
Man, this had to be like maybe 2015. Yeah, 2015, about 10 years ago. And I was just working my ass off. I was doing all of this. I was shooting videos. I was sending emails to people. I was trying to create courses. I was coaching people
you had no
for
staff?
free.
It's just you? Or?
Yeah, it was just me. There was nobody. There was nobody. I was living at my mom's place, and I was paying her mortgage at that time, just helping her pay. I mean, I had to just lock in. And I remember that it was so hard that all the money I had made from selling books, I depleted everything, just obsessively throwing it in. And there was one day that I was really thinking of throwing in the towel. And I was just subscribed to 2 guys in my email inbox. One of them was Mark Manson, who wrote the book Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Everything he's ever written is like some of my favorite books.
Awesome.
Models, great book.
Models, I think Models was his best book. I think The Subtle Art of Giving a Fuck, I couldn't get through the first or second chapter because I know Mark's birthday.
Are you going to talk about you hanging out with him or no?
Yeah, I can talk about it briefly. Briefly, the brief thing with him is I used to follow his blog, which was back then it was called Post Masculine. And I was a big follower of it. I was trying to work through my fear of approaching women. And then one day he puts out this blog post. I believe he said he was going to go to Argentina and he was trying to save up some money. And he was living he was couch surfing in Austin. And I paid money I didn't have to go down to Austin. I stayed at a Motel 6. And I stayed at a Super 8. And I went out with him for 2 days. And I told him this. I was like, bro, we had some beers the first night. He's like, well, what do you want to do, man? He's like, you're good looking, you're this, you got the body, everything. I was like, dude, but I'm a bitch. I can't talk to women. I was like, I'm scared. He's like, I don't get it. You sold books door to door. What the hell?
I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like,
and I was just
what are
like,
you talking about?
I was like, dude, it's so different because the rejection there was the idea you represent. But when a woman rejects you, it's so much deeper, right? It is your existence as a man. At least that's what I thought, right?
Sure.
So he's like, all right, well, what do you want to do? I was like, every day I want you to make me approach 100 women. And he was like, enough said, finish your beer, let's go.
Nice.
And that's what we did. I got blown out so many times. Like it destroyed me for 2 days.
Was it similar? How was it the same and how was it different than the door-to-door Bible sales?
That's a good question, man. Door-to-door Bible sales is you're not having sex with your clients.
Sure.
You're not having.
Speak for yourself.
That's his technique to 20 grand.
Yeah, dude. Like I'm sure some people did, man. I heard some stories, but you're not having sex with your clients, and you're carrying the Bible and the frame, the mental frame you carry when you go out into the world is different.
Sure.
You're also doing it for survival, right? With dating, we live in a world where, remember, there's pornography. So you can always retreat. There's always a plan B, like be an incel, watch porn, jerk off, chat with a woman online, pay for sex. So when you live in a world where there are all these options, until you become a man, and I think this is really important today for guys, because now there are more options than ever for men that are not approaching a woman. When you realize that, oh shit, the only way this is going to happen is if I remove all the other options from my life. And I'm just like, the only way is I am going to go talk to the woman I see. What do I want? Again, what is the game you're playing? I want to be able to approach a beautiful woman and have a conversation with her. And I want her to be attracted to me. And I accept that I will probably have to go through a lot of rejection and work on myself to do that. And so I went out with Mark to do that. And it was nothing like going door to door and selling books. The one thing that's there is like what you talked about with Vince, that natural banter, that ability to run your mouth, that ability to think on the fly and improvise. Because when you knock on a stranger's door and they come out with a gun pointed in your face, you can't flinch. You can't freak out. You can't be. We didn't even go like whoa.
Yeah.
Even when the police pulled us over for soliciting with the wrong license, you just smiled and tried to sell everybody a Bible. Even if your head was about to get blown up.
Sell the policeman a Bible.
Yeah, we call it taking the ride. You're just in the back of the police car. These things happen. So it just gives you a calm.
Yeah.
But in spite of that, approaching women still destroyed me. So
I really like his, because I've read Models a couple times, and I love that it's all about just attracting women through honesty. His reframe of rejection is the best thing I've ever
remind me, man. What did he say?
Basically, it's kind of what you said earlier.
Oh, yeah?
Very similar, and interestingly, because, and I don't want to make this all about dating. I really although marketing and sales is kind of what I wanted to focus on with you.
Yeah.
And that is dating. That is approaching and learning to have a conversation and authentically connecting with somebody and moving on if not. So it's actually it's totally the same. With his reframe, it's amazing. It's just really about, hey, you know what? She saved you some time. You weren't going to connect anyway. By the way, she doesn't know you. The idea of you, she saw that, but she doesn't know you. She didn't reject you. How can she? She doesn't know you. She's maybe having a bad day. Maybe she's got a relationship. Maybe she is just in a place where, you know what? She's not attracted to black men. She's not attracted to guys with hair.
Yeah.
She thinks we're all losers and whatever, right?
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. And so she's saving you time.
Dude, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because one of the things that Mark had mentioned,
I remember this. You're telling me this.
polarizing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the first person I heard talking about the concept of polarizing, and he was the one who said, I remember going out, he's like, yeah, she probably rejected you because you were black. And I was like, what the fuck? Because, you live in this world where people don't want to accept that.
No one would say that.
Yeah, and
probably,
she was just like, maybe she's not into black guys.
Yep.
Maybe she carries some stereotypes. He's just like, I have women who reject me because I'm a white guy. And if both of us approach, if they're feeling like they want sex tonight, they're going to be like, maybe the black guy is more exciting.
Right.
So what I learned from that, as non-PC as it sounds, was to lean into your stereotype at times when it's going to be advantageous to you. And I think one of the things I like to bring it more personal about our friend group is that we're non-PC. Like, if people were to hear some of the things we say off camera, we'll probably have a couple of lawsuits. But it doesn't matter. That's our personal life. But we fully accept who we are.
Yep.
In terms of race and background and everything, which is the truth. And I think when you're more comfortable with that, it gives you less room for excuses in life, because you learn how to tune out the things that don't matter. So for instance, I learned how to tune out shit like racism. It's just like, who gives a shit, right? Like, now, if it gets to a point where it's very unfair, say something. But for the most part, you just accept, like, not everybody likes gringos in Barcelona.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, I experienced that in Barcelona. For sure. Yeah. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm American. I'll fuck off.
Yeah. And then it's just like not a big deal. Like, you're not going to go online to Google Google reviews and be like, they fucking hate gringos in Barcelona. I didn't go up and be like, I'm a victim and like blasting it. Like, it is what it is. In fact, I was on their side, because once I learned the background of how the government handles tourism and all that, I was like, oh yeah, I would hate me too. Yeah.
I'd hate the whole concept of me. Because they're so there's so much over tourism because of the policies, not getting into the politics of it. But I was like, I totally get it. Not even mad. Have a great day.
Yeah. I think even in a place like Mexico City, one of the things I realized the last time we were here was that I didn't make an effort to learn Spanish. And the only reason I felt bad about it was that I think one of the things with a city like this is when you visit a different country, it's one thing to be a tourist, but it's one thing when you're staying in places where you're pricing people out. I'm like, the least you can do is learn how to speak the language and communicate with them like a regular human being, instead of being like, I'm just going to come here and fucking take advantage of shit
100%.
And leave, right? Like, let them have that, like, man, these guys at least make an effort to respect my culture, to communicate with me, that sort of thing, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big part of the reason why I started kind of relearning before I came out. And I do that for every country. The country that changed my life in terms of like what my values were, which is the one now, my whole thing is I don't care about money. I just want freedom to travel. Because I grew up poor, if I'm being honest, and now I just want to be able to go do that. And so I went to Thailand. I was like, oh my God, this was amazing. It was island hopping, coconut snorkeling. It was the greatest thing. And I made an effort to learn a little bit of Thai. And I knew it was garbage, if I'm being honest. And almost everybody spoke English, by the way. And even though I was in like Phuket, like Koh Phi Phi, Koh Phangan, all that. But just a little bit of hello and thank you went such a long way. They would light up. They would look at me, like my green eyes, be like, okay. And they sometimes would even hook me up.
That's awesome.
They would hook me up with like, oh, here, it's fine.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. Just a little gesture goes a very, very, very long way. And circling it back to sales and marketing, which is kind of the theme I want to stay on, that little bit of that small talk, the niceties, hey, how's your day? Yeah, the weather's okay. No one wants to care. No one's talking about the weather because they're like excited about it.
Yeah.
But that small talk is huge. This is something I train my sales staff on. The first things that you say, that is almost more important than anything else in the call. To not just how's your day going, but like actually making a point to connect authentically, even on the phone.
Yeah.
So something that I do on the phone when I used to do the sales is I would always lean in just like straight up. I would always flip it.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Andrew. I just, saw that you filled out a form for piano lessons. Wanted to say hi. How's your day going? And I opened just like that.
Nice.
Like, oh, it's, I remember. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, it's, you feel it out. It's okay if you forgot, but let's see if we got something for you. By the way, like, what'd you think of the rain that just came out? We just got hit with that storm. You guys drowned in that or what we doing, And I keep it light, I keep it positive, and then we connect on something.
Yeah.
From the grandmother's photos of their grandchildren on the wall to the dog.
Yeah.
I'm doing that as soon as I can, but authentically.
Yeah.
If there's nothing to connect with, I'll just move on and it's fine. You can still make a great sale if you've got the product that they need. But yeah, that little bit of small talk is huge. And it's something I have to remind my staff to do and not just plow through. Step one is step one for a reason, which is to connect.
People have a tendency to just kind of like, they want to jump past that into the main thing.
And that's a big thing that I've noticed that harmed me when I was first learning like how to talk to girls, and just like, I was reading everything I could online because I was so scared of women like you, and I was so terrible that I remember like, I went through a good year of just being the least authentic self. Like it was all a game. It was all a front, and it never worked. I would just get rejected so hard, so quick. And I didn't know it until later. I was like, oh, I was doing everything right, but actually being authentic and actually trying to see them as a person and not just like as a next thing.
Gotcha.
And that was a game changer for me, for sales, for everything. Just that authenticity and leaning into who you are. You know, learning to connect. It's powerful.
Yeah, dude. Mark's stuff was eye-opening on learning how to quit treating it like a game and just be a vulnerable human being with women.
Massive.
Yeah.
That's the whole, you just summarized the whole book, by the way, which is great. And I'm surprised you didn't like the subtle art of not giving a fuck. I actually loved that book.
I mean, the book is, there's nothing wrong with the book. I think it's a great book. I just, I think at that point I had been in marketing for so long that I understood that the marketplace, there was a hunger for somebody who was just talking about stoicism with lots of fucks. So this is like, there's a book called
Ryan Holiday with fucks. Is that what it is?
Pretty much, you know,
Holiday
it's just like, so it becomes really popular because people are just like, yeah, I don't want to give a fuck. But essentially it's a mixture of stoicism, Buddhist principles.
True.
Which stoicism plus Buddhist principles in the therapy and coaching world is what you call rational emotive behavioral therapy, REBT. And Mark is probably giving away secret sauce right now. He's a big fan of rational emotive behavioral therapy, which is what I use with my clients too. So when you've studied that stuff professionally and been certified in it, and you're reading a book like that, all the anecdotes with the fucks are just like, you know.
I see. He's making it cool and relatable.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of like a lot of like when people say, Atomic Habits and all that shit, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've never read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I just cannot get through a chapter. I can't get through anything that is curated for the general public and mass market. I just want what is the main principle behind this, and I'm just going to take it and go with it.
No, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
You're not going to win the argument with Rich Dad, Poor Dad. For sure.
That's a game changer.
I have nothing against Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I think it's a fantastic book that changed a lot of lives. And I think a lot of...
Why couldn't you read it?
Yeah, I'm curious too.
It just, I think at that point, even going through the book field and being exposed to successful people who had made money in sales and, you know, the owner of the company who had invested in real estate, Kevin O, all those people. Yeah, it had already been drilled in my mind. It had also already been drilled into my head that I was not going to build wealth from working a regular job. So I already understood. I already understood from 24, 25 years old that I needed to own my own business, that ownership was the main thing. I already understood that I had to leverage that and build my net worth. So I've known what I was doing for a long time. It's just the specific skill sets. I think the place people get lost is you may know what to do. So people will think like, oh, you know, real estate, since we're on a real estate podcast, like real estate is the path to wealth. But some people lock in on that and then they struggle a lot. Not everyone's going to be successful in real estate. Some will be great, but a lot are going to be mediocre. The interesting thing is I've learned from you guys that mediocre is enough. Yeah. Right?
We were definitely mediocre at best, and it still changed our lives.
Yeah, and exactly. And I think that's the reason why everybody should own real estate.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if somebody's out there and they truly want to build a certain level of wealth and they want to be able to enjoy it, or they want to get rich, let's say, and enjoy their life while building wealth, I think they need to be very cognizant of the strategy that they use to get there. And they need to, again, you need to know the game you're playing and you need to know yourself.
Yes.
Like in my case, I know myself. I do not have the patience for long-term investments. So I have to delegate that to people who can do that for me. And I have to partner with people who can play the long game for me. So I remember...
Was that why you've done deals with us?
That's the reason why I've done deals with you guys, because, you know, he's heard me year after year talk about how I'm going to pick up property. I'm going to pick up property.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that my skill set is my ability to pick up large amounts of cash.
Right.
In a day, I can do 40K, 60K. I don't mean that to just throw numbers around. It is not easy.
No, it's just fact,
to do this. And it takes a lot of time to build up the trust and have the capacity to close sales and high ticket sales.
Yeah.
But when you know yourself, it becomes so much easier to do this.
Right.
I remember reading a book by Zig Ziglar. And Zig Ziglar was talking about, I think it was The Art of Selling, the classic. And he talked about how he just sucked at numbers. It was like, I sucked at numbers. He was like, my ability was to go stand on stage and run my mouth and make money. And he's like, the only way I was going to build wealth was to stay away from the books. I just keep my eyes on the books to know what's happening. But he's like, somebody else has to build my wealth for me.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm just upfront, just generating the money. He understood his skill sets. So learning how to understand mine just changed the game. And this is not like I'm an expert at this. I only learned how to do this over the last 4 years. So I only learned the lesson the really hard way of, oh, this is what you do with your money.
Yeah.
These are the things you can't do. Stop wasting time trying to do the things you're not good
Delegate
at.
Or partner.
And delegate it and have the experts do it for you.
I literally just recently learned that as well. It's insane how long it took me to figure out, oh, no, just know thyself and then figure the rest out, right? So for me, I know I'm good at two things that move my needle for sure, and that give me energy.
What are those two things?
So the two things for me is, first thing is building something. I just love, since I was a kid, one of my favorite things in the world, literally, this is going to make me sound super weird, was a blank sheet of paper and a good quality ink pen. One of my favorite things. I'm feeling good just thinking about that now. I still don't know why. But in reverse engineering it, I've realized I just like to build something out of nothing, which has also done a disservice to me because I've had that shiny object syndrome. I have a new business idea every other day. I'm sure you do as well. I have to kill it.
Yeah.
I've learned to kill it and not get distracted, which is why I know my path is to just aggressively make sure I hire out and delegate all of the management for our real estate. And right now we're in this place where I'm on my team's ass, like a lot, because I'm telling them if I have to do this in a month when I open my second location, I'm wiping the whole slate clean. I'm starting over.
Yeah.
Point is, I know my skill set. I know where I can drive the needle. Building things is massive for me. I love it.
What's the second thing?
Sales.
Gotcha.
I can sell. But again, if I'm selling poison to somebody, let's just say, I would be terrible at it. I know that. So I've been lucky to build something. So I love what we sell with our partnership. Like you can have actual passive income, which basically doesn't exist. We can actually give you passive income. You can build wealth in your sleep. It is based on trust though, both ways. We got to trust you, got to trust us. We got to be aligned. I can sell the hell out of that. And I can sell the hell out of lessons because I know what I'm bringing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the stuff you guys were talking about earlier. Is the fact about the rich dad, poor dad, and then the making the income and stuff, right? So the interesting part about that is what he talks about is like very long-term wealth building, right?
Yeah.
So when you were saying that, for real estate and stuff, you can be moderately kind of smart and you can win, right? However, what most people miss is you have to do that for a long time. You have to, but most people, like you were saying, even me and him too, to a certain extent, we didn't really understand that in the beginning, and we were like, "What? I thought you can make, like wealth in a short amount." It doesn't work like that. So it has to be. So I know for your personality, there is 0% chance you will do it because you will sell it in a year when you're like pissed off because some tenant decided he's going to just sit there and not pay, and you're going to be raging out because it won't work. Because for your personality, I know a lot of people like that. My buddy Ryan, who has who does similar.
Okay, I'm going to object right there, bro.
Okay, object.
So this is the thing I object with, right?
Yeah.
You're going to tell me about how Ryan is a high income earner,
Sure.
and he doesn't have the patience for those things.
Because he makes high income.
Yeah, but I think the reason I object to that is because I think you're not the only one with this idea, right? I know a lot of other personality types that are similar to yours who are great long-term investors, but I think somewhere along the line in their real estate education, there was this thing that was taught to them that there are people who are high income earners who somehow suck at long-term investments. Like that's an idea that was like thought, and I hear it parroted all the time. And one of the things that I've seen is I have met in the work I do a lot of very successful individuals who are extremely impulsive. Like you think I'm impulsive?
Yeah.
These people are crazy impulsive. And they have amazing long-term investments. And I also had this idea too because I read books.
What is the investments in?
They invest in businesses. That's one of the things they're really good at.
That's different.
It's not different because it's investing in, let's say, somebody that invests in another person's brick and mortar business, right? And you have a business that's working and you acquire a mom and pop business that is producing a certain amount of revenue each year. And your job as an impulsive entrepreneur is not to go in there and fuck with it. Like in your head, most people be like, yeah, we're going to go improve this. We're going to change their marketing. No, mom and dad have been, they're boomers. They've been doing this for 40 years. Their business is doing great. Your ability to leave it alone is important.
Yeah.
But the reason why these people who are very impulsive are able to leave it alone is because they actually understand how it works. Their brain clicks with it. So they can look at the profit and loss sheet and they understand how it works. With something like real estate, it's a very foreign concept to some people's brains, the way it works. And when you're highly successful at a certain type of business, you spend all your time in that, right? Now there's some rare people, like a friend of mine, and I consider him a friend and a mentor, Sharan Srivastava. He's the president of acquisition.com. And I've been in masterminds with him, and I've been a student of his in a mastermind. And he's one of those rare individuals who can run a business, can be a CEO, and can invest in real estate long-term. A triple threat. Yep. Great speaker too, right? And can do it all. But there are a lot of other people like myself who I understand I'm really good at one thing, but I fully accept that when it comes to certain types of long-term investments, like real estate, that is not my strength. But when it comes to like businesses that need that they have to exist for a long period of time, because I understand how they work and because I understand how the marketplace works, I'm not going to fuck with them. I'll come in, I'll make adjustments, and I'm absolutely fine with waiting. So in our business, we run multiple programs. I have very profitable programs that I've never even been inside. I come in, I look at the numbers, and the team is like, oh yeah, there's this new exciting thing that's happening in the marketplace. We should change. I'm just like, yeah, that's cool. What are our margins on this? They're like, it's this. How much has it been growing? Yeah, this program has been growing by roughly, like it grew 30%, then it dropped to like 20-something%, then it went up again. And I was just like, don't touch it. And that has saved our ass. Yeah. Literally having another a program that works as its own business that I don't touch. So that's the only thing I'm disagreeing with. I'm disagreeing with the idea that certain type of people who are high income are incapable of long-term investments. They are. I think the individuals you may be referring to are people who are working as consultants or people who are working on their high-paid commission, high income. That's a little bit different when your income is determined by a little bit commission and a little bit salary, right? I don't get any of those things. Every single year, we have to start from scratch. We have to look at what we have and we have to run a business. Like, yeah, I determine my salary and my distribution, but I have to run a business. So in order to do this year after year and also to grow and scale, I have to have a long-term view. So when you've mentioned like a few other people and you go like, well, the reason why you're not going to be able to do real estate is you're right. I invest with you guys.
You're going to get bored, bro. I'm telling you, you won't do it.
No, that's the thing. Yeah. You're also right about that. I'm 100% with you, right? It doesn't stimulate me in the same way like a business with multiple moving parts does. With ADHD as well, there's no way I'm going to sit down.
We all have ADHD.
Yeah, well, we don't all have ADHD. I also disagree with that. Really? There are people who specifically have ADHD, and they have very, very specific things they can do and they can't do. To find a person who has ADHD, who has your patience in the long term, that's very unusual. I've never met a person with ADHD who has your focus and ability to sit on property.
I agree.
For the long term.
Yeah. He's the most longest term strategic thinker I've ever met, for sure. Which is
We're
why
we all
I
have
like partnering with
ADHD.
him.
No, bro, you're different. You
I have ADHD, right? Wouldn't you say?
I'm not a doctor. I don't know.
I would neither.
I don't know how to diagnose it. I don't know.
I mean, I get bored fast, right?
Yeah, getting bored fast does not mean that you necessarily have.
But
like,
I'm willing to
ADHD.
I'm willing to trade short-term pleasure for long-term gain, for sure.
More so than us combined, for
Yes,
sure.
for sure.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, then you don't have ADHD. Because ADHD means that you need to deal with like whatever the impulse is right now, you're going to do that. It also means that you can't release enough dopamine. There's always a dopamine shortage, which means that you don't experience any wins in anything. Like I literally have no wins. I'm not kidding. I'm like, I'm going to be the most ripped 40-year-old that I know. And I accomplished that. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to make 150K, 250, well, not 250K, 185K this month. I did nothing. Literally no celebration, no nothing. I have to delegate. My team has to tell me, hey man, you probably need to like celebrate with the team because people are wondering why we're doing so well and you're not saying anything. Right? Yeah. So again, it's just like the inability to, dopamine is a reward neurochemical. But people with ADHD, they just don't release enough dopamine. And they are more susceptible to addictive behaviors because that is the thing that releases dopamine. Right? I would actually argue that he's the one who is more likely to have ADHD than you.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Because he's more likely to chase dopamine. Like literally when we go on trips, he and I will like peel off and just do dopamine shit. Like just like imagining. We'll just do that for a whole day and have dinner together and talk about dopamine.
I was just telling him yesterday, that you and Drew and JK have, you guys need more stimulation than me. Like you guys are more accustomed to more stuff. And I'm like, nah, dude, I'll just play the piano all day and just walk around and stuff like that.
I don't know how you stay at home all day. Like I can do it all day, but at the same time, I have to stay stimulated online.
But it might be mild depression too. But
mild depression plays a part.
Very mild depression.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But going back to the stuff we were talking about was I was more on the side of saying that you are more of like a active income personality. And I don't enjoy that as much because I value my time in decades and stuff. So I don't like to do a lot of things that make quick money now.
I have a question for you. Why do you feel like you've always valued your time in decades, or did that happen when you got into real estate?
I would say that I was like that a little bit before because I always wanted to do something that makes some kind of wealth. So my first company, think about this. I started making batteries and nanomaterials. And I have multiple patents on that. Yeah. And then I thought that would pay me something, right? Because it's worth something. It didn't work out. And then I went to a new company, totally different field. Did the same thing there too, patents, stuff. Yeah. I get paid well, but it doesn't give me like wealth stuff, right? So I had to still trade time. That's about the time I registered for that. Yeah. And then I figured, okay, real estate is going to be the platform where I can actually use my brain, but not think about it in this year or next year or the next 2-3 years, but like decades, right? So that way, anytime I work on something, I want it to be a very long-term play. That's why it's hard for me to.
So like a legacy for you, legacy is important.
Legacy, yeah, but it's not even if I don't have kids either.
Yeah, I don't mean it in the kid way. I mean legacy in the literal term of just like this is something that is going to be there in the long term, and perhaps there's something that it leaves behind.
Yeah, it leaves behind, and people who are closest to me get to benefit a lot.
I like that
from it. Okay. So that's my personality. That's why I find it hard to continue doing the sourcing and the going out.
Don't use that word, bro. Yeah,
nobody's trying to use it, but I don't get a lot of fulfillment from it since I've hit 40 now, and it's just not. It just doesn't stimulate me that much. So I need something more because I don't feel like I came to the U.S. to just do this and then just die. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Have you tried reframing it?
To
right?
what?
Well, for me,
To find like the best wife or something, right?
no, not even to find the best wife. Like I think we even live in a day and age where like finding a wife is almost like an outdated thing because male female dynamics have changed.
Yeah.
I mean, just as we get older, I'm 41. I found that being social and putting myself in uncomfortable situations is a great way to break out of homeostasis because you there's a tendency as you get older to just get stuck in your ways, right? And you watch your parents get stuck in their ways. And all that stuff starts happening for some people. It happens early in their 30s. For some, it happens in their 40s. But it's like, it's the thing that you lose that childlike ability to adjust to things. And then your brain's neural pathways just become really strong. So you're like, no. You become like a grumpy old man. I don't want to. Like we've already started noticing
Building
it in
compounds
our
and stuff in their house.
We've noticed it in our group as people become more like before we were flexible. Everyone's like, yeah, fuck, we'll sleep in the same room, everything. Yep. But as you get older and you get to know what works for you, you're just like, there's less tolerance for that. The downside is that there's less tolerance for a lot of the world and enjoying things. Yeah. So like choosing to go out there and communicate with people and talk to new people and to travel more and experience new things, you're forcing yourself as you get older to maintain that curiosity. For me, that's important because I know that left to my own devices, I'll get super introverted. I'll only talk to the people I know, and I'll become very, very like communal. Like I'm like, I only want my family around me. I don't want to know other people. But I understand that's a direct result of aging, which means I'm closing myself off to a lot of opportunities.
Is that a thing with aging? Does that happen?
It is a thing with aging. It's a fact. So you, like, if you were to reframe it, for example, just a suggestion, you don't have to do it, of like, well, I'm approaching people because it keeps me fresh, it keeps me young, it keeps my ability to communicate with people higher, my ability to be great at closing sales is up there. But, people are like, oh, I want to learn a new language. Well, if you're learning a new language later on in life, but at the same time, you're like, I'm not even interested in going out and meeting new people, there's no point in doing that. You have to create a life, ideally, well, I say you have to, nobody has to. I'm trying to create a life where I'm constantly breaking out of homeostasis. So it's like, yeah, you're jacked. Cool, what's the next thing? Or you don't like stretching? Well, now you got to start doing movement and stretching. Or you're too comfortable living in the Midwest. Well, let's get out of the Midwest. Let's go somewhere extremely uncomfortable and foreign, and then let's put ourselves through like living in that situation. It's just constantly pushing the brain to learn new things. Let's learn new skills. Like even in business, like there are new things I want to do, like learning how to build an app, right? And starting a SaaS company to do so. That's very challenging. I don't see myself as a tech guy, but it doesn't matter. If I can push myself in there, I'm going to rewire my brain to be open to more things. So I think if maybe a value of yours is constant learning, then you're able to do those things because I believe you can do both. I believe you can be in the moment, put yourself in uncomfortable situations, and you can also think long-term. But just be wary, I would say, of having your long-term thinking become something that affects your present moments, your ability to grow. Because you're like, no, I'm going to be optimized for the long term only. Like, that's it. Like, trust me, it's like 80-20, right? Like, I'm optimizing for the long term, but I'm just like, but the present moment is still here. Does that make sense? Same thing with me. Let's say I'm the opposite of you, and I have a tendency to not optimize for the long term as much as you. I'm more in the moment, like Drew is. But that also means that I can't be in the moments, like, the what do you call it, the ant and the grasshopper story, where the ant is like saving up food for the winter and stuff. Yeah. I can't be like the fucking grasshopper jumping from country to country, enjoying myself, while you're the ant. You're like, yeah, bro, you keep enjoying, bro. I'm like, come on, man, let's go travel here. You're like, nah, dude, I'm just saving food for the winter, for the long term. Yeah. I also have to be aware of that. And I have to also get out of my comfort zone and go like, I still got to put aside $300K because I know I'm going to give like most of that to Vince and Andrew later on next year. Like, who am I kidding? I could say all the things I want to say once the money's sitting there and I just watch it getting devalued and inflation happening. I'm just like,
and you had that too, like 5 years ago, remember?
I used to have like 300, 400K in the bank, and he was like, dude, give me some. Like, he's like, just.
I knew he was going to blow it too. I was like, I can see it.
It's not that I blew it. It's literally, here's the crazy thing too with business. I took about 300K and I reinvested it in my business, right? Because I wanted to scale the business.
I told you to do 50-50, remember?
And I didn't.
Do it 150, dude.
I'd already given him money and I was making money. They gave me back, what? You guys can bet 48K, yeah? So you all kept your promise, which I appreciate. So I was like, all right, cool. These guys are trustworthy. I had money and I reinvested it in my business to scale the business. The business grew and has kept growing. However, what I didn't realize about scale is that when you decide to scale and you decide to bring on new people, there are going to be these dips in your revenue. I didn't know about it because it was the first time I was scaling at this level. With those dips came a reduction in not income, but in what we were able to save. As you hire better people, more qualified people, we were getting people who are now commanding, because they were worth it, 6-figure salaries. Well, if you really want to scale and you don't want to run like a small lifestyle business, that's what you need to do. And all those hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, I realized, I was like, oh, wow, it's going to take something drastic to build that up again. And that's taken about 1.5 years to learn how to run the business in a way and run my lifestyle in a way that has us build that back up, right? So, I mean, that's one of the things with short-term versus long-term thinking. I had the opportunity, didn't do it, but I know that next year when we get to a better place, that I'm still going to invest with you.
Well, the good thing with this, I would say, like with both you or Drew's businesses, people listening, is if you're a high income earner, you get a lot of chances. You get second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 20 million chances, because you can always make the money again, right? But the caveat to that is, you can make the money and you'll never do it. You'll keep doing the same thing because you make money.
Never do what?
You wouldn't want to do the invest. You would always want to do the next thing or like the next.
Oh,
trip.
I see. Yeah.
Because you do make the money. It's true. Because
that's what I'm talking about. That's the trap.
Yeah, that's the trap.
That I try not to fall into.
Because I'll never make as much money as you. There's no chance.
Well, see, that's the thing
Short
too.
term.
That's the thing too. It's how do we become people who are able to flip that? Yeah. Like, how do I, over the years, train myself to become a person who thinks more long-term and invests more long-term while living in the moment, making a high income? How do you train yourself to be a person who's already great at doing the long-term thing? But I think...
Why do you think I keep you guys around?
Well, you see...
Because otherwise I'll be in my cave and I'll lock the doors with 25 cameras.
I am the sole reason he goes out of his home.
But think about the thing. Remember you said, hey, you finally left the house?
Yeah.
I don't leave the house. So you know what this guy did? He planned the party in my house.
Yep.
So 50 people came to my house. Yeah. I had no choice.
You're not going to go out?
Crazy.
Cool. We're going to come to you, baby.
Yeah. He scheduled the cleaners. They're cleaning the house. I'm like, what's happening? There's a party tonight. I'm like, oh no.
Yep. This is so crazy because I think that's awesome.
I
saw the story and I was just like,
JK,
this guy's out.
Right away, he was like, oh, good job. You're getting Vince out of the house. I'm like, no, bro. That was his house.
Yeah,
that's the garage.
Yeah. But I think, it's so crazy. Like, think about this. Like, if we didn't purposefully, like, again, another reason that I'm still friends with you guys, like we have the friendship, but we're still in business together, is because I understand the advantage, like, to it, that there's a lot for me to learn. But imagine being somebody who's unaware of your weaknesses, because I think there are a lot of people out there who, they take it for granted. They're like, yeah, I'm a high income earner. I'm sure you guys talk to a lot of people, but they're just not going to invest with you. They keep showing up to meeting after meeting after meeting
Rolex
after meeting. Yeah. And they're just like, yeah, bro, like, and you're just like, how do you have a Rolex? How do you have a car like that? And you don't have 40K in the bank.
I know a lot of those guys. I know a lot of those guys. I'll one up you. I actually know those guys who not have any savings, maybe like 5K, but it's irrelevant when you look at their actual credit card debt. I have met these individuals. I have got them to a point where we were getting to that, like, we had a couple of drinks, we're talking money, we're talking they get it, I get it, and then they revealed to me finally at the end, like, oh, I have all this debt and I live with like 4 roommates, and I'm talking like these people who like have all the good social media, the people that annoy events, who flash and flaunt and have the car and the watch, are still living with like 5 roommates and barely making it. It's very common where we live, and it's almost annoying at how common it is.
Yeah, I want to say something. I want to pivot to the stuff that you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
Is the relationship stuff, which I find very fascinating. But I would say, over the years, my personality living in OC and stuff, it's because I see so many fake people, and I'm not even like mad. I'm just like sad all the time because it's just like, I'm like, it's like I know I can buy a Porsche and be like the cool guy on the date with the chick, like, hey, check it out.
Yeah.
I just can't do it. I will drive a Toyota. I don't care. So anyway, I was saying that, in OC living in that kind of lifestyle is just it's not my personality type to kind of like be that way. So I have to figure out a way, like you're saying, because if I don't kind of participate, then I'm just like some loser dude in the dungeon, just counting Excel sheets and numbers, like for what? Like there's no purpose. It could be earthquake and I'm dead.
Yep.
So I got to just find a balance.
That's what we're all trying.
How
to
do you mean by balance it? Like are you saying that it's a very like materialistic, shallow culture in OC?
It is very materialistic, shallow culture, and even like like we've done all the dating stuff. We're 40, right? So it's like I know what works and doesn't work, but for me it becomes like very artificial and it's not real. And then I get depressed. Like even if I'm with a date or with a girl, I know none of this is real. It's just like all fake.
Yeah.
She's got
Does it feel that way when you date internationally?
Actually, no. It doesn't feel that way. But I haven't dated a lot internationally, but maybe, half a dozen.
Yeah. I think like having known you from moving from Kansas to Huntington Beach and then upgrading and, the area that you're in, Costa Mesa and so on. You guys know, I hate coming down to California.
Is that
Last
why?
time I came, I do not like coming down there. One thing I do appreciate from Andrew is the fact that, like you were one of the people that I've met, which only strengthened my hate for California. Not you, but hear me out.
Here we go.
Because you enjoy it. You see the positive and you see the value in a place like that. But when I see you, I also see a guy you've maximized everything there. Like this is your place, right? Like you have learned how to thrive in that environment. I don't think Vince thrives in that environment. Like I actually, personally, I've thought for years that you get drained in that environment. I think that I think you'd have been successful wherever you go, but I think your social life and your personal life, the people in those areas and the values that they have are not things that you resonate with.
Yeah,
I think there are certain values you have that could have matured, but because you were in the wrong environment for them to mature, you hit this place and they didn't mature. I think instead they got a little bit fucked up, like, a little bit of just like depression because there's an inability to grow there. And maybe a little bit, I'm not sure, I'm not a psychiatrist, maybe a little bit of just being jaded because you're just like, man, like I want to bloom, I want to grow, but this just, I can't relate to people here. So when you travel internationally and you meet people, you come to realize, there are a lot of people who they're cool people. They don't give a fuck about those things.
Yeah.
They really don't care. They're like more interested in connecting with you as a human being. Even when they flex, they're not flexing on what they have or showing. A lot of these people are not, the rest of the world, they're not even on social media. So there's nothing, they don't need the external validation from other people to feel good about themselves. I think that's the type of person you are. You've never really needed to flex on material things. Now, if you flex on a material thing, it's a material thing that has long-term value, that's in tune with your personality.
My personal beliefs and stuff, right? Yeah. I believe that is useful. The perfect example for this would be this, Drew will find this funny, is the my favorite people to hang out is his mom and his stepdad. And it's on every Sunday I hang out with them because they're real. It's just like
super down to earth. It does get more down to earth than my parents for sure. And what's funny is just to comment on, my experience with California. I do love it. When we came out as kids from Kansas, I was born and raised in Kansas. So I still have those Midwestern values. I still like to lead with authenticity. I'm kind of in my group known as like a super honest person, sometimes to a fault. And I wear that with a badge of honor. And so even for me, even though I've found my pocket and I am pretty happy where I am, I definitely connect faster and better when someone is not born and raised in that area.
Oh,
if someone's from San Francisco, I will know because I won't even ask them. I'll just connect quickly. Oh, you're not from here. Yeah, I'm from the Valley or wherever. They're from Washington. I'm like,
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Like,
why
not the Valley.
That makes sense. Why, yeah, I misspoke. But that makes sense. Why I was like, oh, okay, yeah. I get it now.
Yeah,
we do have good people too that
That's
we do
true.
connect with.
Yeah.
We
I
have
would
the
say-
Michelles and the Steves.
I would
and,
say
yeah.
it's just it's harder to find the realness and the authenticity in Orange County. For sure, 100% fact. If you argue with me, you're ignorant. You've never been, and you never socialized in Orange County. Period.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys have built your own social circle of people who are authentic, but I think whether you like it or not, you all still also have to like deal with the expanded social circle, right?
Yeah.
Like these people that are real are in relationships with, the people that come into their lives, come into you guys' lives as well. So I would say like on the location thing, I don't know, my opinion is that it's really important to find a location for the seasons of your life, right? Like I spent a season of my life building my business between Albuquerque and Wichita. And then I realized that I was very, very impulsive and that even the business side of things would not work if I had too much stimuli. So even if I was in a place like OCO, I'd be gone. I wouldn't make it. Like you wouldn't even, I would have just disappeared. Or like Ashkan inviting me to like come out and live in Vegas.
telling you, don't do it.
And you were just like, you're going to die. I was in Vegas, right, helping coach.
Just about to jump from a balcony, calling me every day.
And I just woke up one morning. This is just like the longest I'd spent in Vegas, just over a week. And I called him in the morning crying because I had a panic attack, right? Because I just couldn't do the energy of the city at all. A city like that, like very like, not materialistic, but just very
super fake, bro. Come on.
Yeah, it's a curated city. It's not a real place, so I couldn't do it.
You would be the mayor in like a month if
Probably,
like,
Yeah, I just can't, and I don't have hate for people that do that.
Yeah, me
I know
neither.
there are people who can tell.
You're naturally an introvert. Am I wrong? Was that kind of how you identify? Or
Yeah, but I also think that there are introverts that do really well in Vegas. I think there are billionaire introverts who build hotels there, right?
Okay.
So I think anything is possible there. It's just there are people who are able to differentiate between the fake and the real.
Yeah.
And then there are other people who like, maybe we don't have the energy to do that. We're just like, I rather not put the energy towards separating it. I rather just deal with the real. And then I want to build a life that's way. So I think in different seasons of our life, we have different needs and we need to know when it's time to change things up. So I've been in a season of living in Kansas, isolated from many things, including friends. I only would hang out with you guys or travel internationally to hang out with my other friends. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like you've done this, you've built something. You know you can build it again and again and again. And then this year we came out of a crazy year that was so hard. And I was just like, we have nothing at the beginning of the year. Literally by February, we had nothing. So like literally nothing. Even our email list, we lost like 48,000 emails last year. Literally our CRM just deleted. Imagine authentic people come to Envy and you guys build up an email list of not 43,000 people. Real, none of it is fake. They're all like, oh God, we love your podcast. And then one day your CRM goes like, there are too many bots in here. And we're just like, all right, cool. If you don't want us, we'll just move the emails anywhere. They're like, too late. We deleted everything and the bots because it's a risk to our CRM. And
That's
you
wild.
build business from that.
That's insane.
So we went from 0 to, I won't say the number, but it's up there in 7 figures in 11 months. And you guys were with me on the Amalfi Coast, and you all saw how stressed I was. I'm much chill, more chill now.
You just holed up in a room and just went to battle.
I was like, guys, I'm dying. I was fighting with you guys all the time. That was not fun. That was not
you did
fun.
have a view of the ocean. You know,
I
that
did.
probably helped.
It was nice. It was nice to have the view of the
I
ocean.
watched you doing like coaching calls, closing like 40K, like in your shorts, like on like shirt
I would tell you,
off.
I was just like, I'll see you guys when I make $40,000 today.
Yeah.
And I've told you before, I was just like, I need to go home. They're like, why are you going home early? I'm like, I need to make 80K this weekend.
Yeah.
And I would do all of those things. But my point is, I don't think I would have been able to do those things by being in an environment where I experienced the friction. That's what I describe what you deal with. Like the friction of just like, at any given moment, you can go out and try to socialize and you just run into shit you don't want to deal with. I was like, I'd rather live in a place now where like I had no friction. I go out in Wichita, there's no friction. It's just easy. Everyone's, Kansas, you're from Kansas. Everyone's just nice and friendly and pleasant.
Yep.
There's not much intellectual speak
Sure.
because I'm not looking for it. So it's just simple. So I can just do my thing,
Yep.
go back and work. But now there's the urge for more stimuli and more things in my life that I value more in terms of like spirituality, health, healthier relationships, like relationships that are deeper. And a lot of those are in different countries for me, like different values, which isn't about the American way of just like grind. So now it's time for a different season. So maybe it's time for you to start thinking long term about like whether it's relationships, whether it's spirituality, all the things that sometimes you're just like, man, I'm missing these things. Like I keep connecting relationship to spirituality to this, and maybe it's just like
I just become a monk.
yeah.
I just moved to India back
You already
home.
look like one now,
Yeah.
dude. You look like a guru.
Against the guru.
all white all the time.
Yeah, dude.
But let's. I want to cover two more topics, and then I want to end on health, of course. You know,
Okay.
You can't have a jack dude and not talk about his abs. I've never seen him not have abs in 20 years.
That's amazing.
That's crazy. Maybe like for a weekend, and then it comes back. Then he does a 1 day fast and it's back on.
It's
Yep,
just
pretty
back.
much.
Yeah. But the seasons of life is interesting, right? So I want to ask. Let's go with JK first, and then I'll ask Drew, and then I can talk a little bit. What is the like, so for people who are listening, I want to mention is like, for especially for men, I think we have to go through different seasons of life, and for all us three, speaking for everybody, I would say we were in a very heavy build mode in our 30s, and we were like, it's insane, like what we had to do. And then I want to talk about the relationships too you build along the way, right? Because like the JK and I fight all the time, but we stole books together, so it's like an unbreakable bond. And Drew and I are fighting every day. There's no chance for us to.
I hear you guys fight when I
all
travel
the time,
too.
right?
Yeah.
But it's like we have like an unbreakable bond. It's very hard to separate because of the stuff that we built together.
Yeah.
So he's always trying to get me out of the house. I'm always like, well, don't go to Thailand for a year because I would kill myself because I have to run a 8-figure company, which would be insane, right? So stuff like that is good. So what about you? We're starting with you for the seasons.
matter, yeah.
What's your next
season for me? That's a great question, bro.
2026.
2026?
Yeah. Moving into 2026, I don't want to give away too much on the podcast, but like I've decided that not the things I value. I know the things I value are happiness, autonomy, free will, and the ability to think critically. In fact, my businesses are built on those 4 things. So happiness is, will we ever find it? I don't know. But I know that I can keep striving. And in little moments in life, you find these little slivers where like, we could be having a conversation or we could be hanging out and traveling. And I could be walking with you guys and there's just a moment. And I'm just like, oh, with my boys, this moment is happiness.
Yeah,
right? So I'm like, okay,
same.
cool. How do you take those moments and start curating a life? That's one of the things I'm doing for the next season. The next one is autonomy, right? Autonomy is just like you get to call the shots as an individual on your own, right? And that is a lot of times a product of the environment that you're in, right? I think we are fortunate to live in the United States. And I think we also live in a time, without getting political, where autonomy is slowly under threat. I don't know if it's purposeful, but when I feel that from the airports to just little things, my autonomy is being taken away, or people around me who are not as fortunate, maybe because like socioeconomically, they're not on my level, so they can't escape certain things. When I see their autonomy being taken away, I'm like, okay, cool. Like this is now affecting me because people I care for who may not be where I am feel like their autonomy is being taken away from them. I get the energy of people who don't feel free. So that's the second thing, is moving to a place, a season, a situation, an environment where I have more autonomy. The third being free will, right? Which means that I get to do whatever the fuck I want to do. Like nothing is holding me back. But here's the interesting thing about free will. The very thing that gives you freedom, like your business, and you guys know this, can also be the thing that takes away your freedom as well.
Sure.
So it's just like the next season is not just about the environment. It's also about structuring a business which will prioritize autonomy, happiness, and freedom, which may mean that the business is not as profitable as you hope it to be. Because people are like, oh, I'm going to make this profit. I'm like, but at what cost, right? And the last thing, to answer your question, is your ability to think critically, right? And that is the ability to be able to like sit down in Mexico and not just be here as a tourist, but also the ability to sit here and go like, look at people and go like, are they happier? Like, why are they happier? Why is it, am I just here on vacation? Why do we leave the country so many times, right? Like, why do we act differently when we're in a different country versus a certain place? When something is happening politically or online, the ability to look at it and go like, why is that happening? Like, to be able to think like, is the US in decline? Again, not to get political, I'm just saying ways of thinking, or is this just normal, right? So that ability to think critically sometimes happens when you can step out of the environment you're in and actually look back, not just take a vacation, but yeah, you can be here and you can be like, let's talk about, and then let's challenge each other. Can you be in an environment where you can challenge each other and people are not like, yeah, fuck it, I'm not talking to you anymore because I don't like, in the US that happens a lot. People are just like, we're done. And just like, well, can't we, like, we disagree on many things.
Yep.
Every day we disagree on many things. But at the same time, we respect each person's ability to be able to defend the way they think. But most importantly, each person lives what they think. So in our group, everybody might say some shit and we like argue, but everybody actually goes and lives their life. And you look at them and go like, you know what? They seem pretty happy doing that thing. Mm-hmm. And it's not my thing. So those four critical values of autonomy, free will, happiness, and critical thinking are the things that are informing my entire life next year. And I wish I could share more about the details that I'm taking, but maybe we'll do a part 2 sometime, some other part of the world. We'll catch up next year and I'll share the things that are happening. But give me a follow at JK Emezi on Instagram. And I'll be sharing some of the things that I'm doing in my life.
Nice. We'll put that in the notes as well. So,
yeah. How about you, man?
2026
next
for me.
Season. Yeah.
That was really well said, though. I really like that.
I appreciate
Very
that,
well
man.
said.
Good question. Good question. You set me up for that. Yeah.
Out of character, I'll keep my answer very minimalistic. More work, less play.
Come on, bro. You stole mine.
Really? Is that yours?
I've never seen a more obvious thing that I need to do to change my financial life, to truly get to that ability where I call mom, say, hey, we're going to go to Italy. Pack a bag. The weather's nice. Don't ask questions. You're not paying for anything. We're just going to have a good time. Jeff, too, of course.
Drew, sorry to interrupt. This is a massive change from like the conversations you and I have had recently. What happened? Not to make it a long thing. I know you wanted to keep this short, but I remember last night we were walking and I turned to you and I was like, hey, man, like, what's going on? Like, what you got planned for next year? And usually it's something exciting. Like, I'm going to go to Thailand.
Nope.
And you were just like, nah, dude, I'm just focused on like what. And I was just like, you sound like I've been sounding for the past few years. What happened?
A couple things. Now that I'm almost 40, I've learned truly how much work and just grinding and volume of time in that it takes to really get something right. I've managed to pull that off with the music school, with healthy profit margins beyond a normal music school, apparently. I'm in some groups where that's... Anyways, I've learned to value data and learn to fire fast, hire slow. These cliches.
Yeah.
I just learned to take them on, like, yeah, this is true. And I've really got it to a point to where when I traveled for 30 days straight, when we went to Italy together and then Croatia, I stayed in Croatia for a few more days, went to Serbia, Istanbul, and actually here in CDMX, and just was gone for all of the month of September.
Yeah.
And I canceled a lot of meetings in the school. I stayed pretty on it with the real estate stuff, but the school. And then I got my P&Ls, and I was nervous. And it wasn't as good as it probably could have been, if I'm honest. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't bad. And that was when I realized, oh, I'm kind of just in the way some of the time here. I don't need a new idea. I have all of the moving parts of this money-making engine that gives me value and pride beyond the money. Uh-huh. That's all. I have all the moving parts. I see it. I can rebuild this engine again and again. So my goal personally is to open a new school in Orange County every year. I know the budget that I need. I know how to set up all the systems. I have a literal step-by-step I've made for myself, almost like Napoleon. Play by play, day 1, day 2, day 3, and all the tasks involved.
Yeah.
And it's aggressive and it's doable. And I just simply have to do it.
Fantastic.
That sounds good, dude. So you said more play, less work?
No, definitely more work, less play. More work, less play. For you, I hope it's the opposite.
Yeah, for me, that's why I said I'm the opposite. I want to make sure that, as people listening, you guys probably know, Drew and I have a massive portfolio, not as big as Ken McElroy, but I've been helping with the management, with the team, and I want to, for sure, try to get out of it. And as long as the team can manage it, I want to be out of it for sure, and do the higher use of my brain for everybody involved, including JK or my sister or Drew's mom or Drew, to kind of plan out the stuff for us. Because if I do the minutiae of the day-to-days, it puts a lot of pressure on me to kind of do that. So, maybe try to build up like 150 or something, just a checking account, probably what JK needs to for his stuff.
Mm-hmm. I need way more than that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 150 million, man. I'm kidding.
No. This is just for a day-to-day operation.
No, dude, for day-to-day operations, we need, let me not say the number here. Yeah.
So, it's stuff like that. And then I definitely will continue buying real estate, obviously, but like way less, like maybe 1 or 2 a year, just to offset his taxes, your taxes, my sister's, mine, and just keep it simple.
Yeah.
And then in your 40s, like you say, you never know. Maybe we won't hit 50s. Maybe we won't hit 60s, right? So you want to enjoy time.
That's exactly what I want to do. Like in our 30s, we have built something and we found our niche. That's the thing in our 40s that we don't need to do, which is have the ADHD symptoms of shiny object syndrome. We don't need to do anything new.
Yeah.
We just need to keep doing what we're doing.
I want to say I'm proud of you, man, Andrew, because I know that your FOMO from your past is like high. So like the need to like, I want to enjoy life because you've had life experiences that show you that none of this shit is guaranteed. So I'm proud of you because I know it's not easy to just be like, I got to lock in. Like, and I know the fear is there for you too. The fear of, oh man, I'm missing out. What if I died doing this? Would it have been worth it? Building I was building a second music school. But I think that's the thing about life. It's, you have to be able to accept all the great things you've done, the things you've enjoyed in life, and know when to sacrifice fully and be okay with that. Like, it's not like I'm sacrificing now, and if I drop dead, does that suck? Not really. It's just like, I was doing what was important for my life, but I have like letting go of control. I have no control over this. But the ability to do that means you need courage. You need to like step away from the fear of missing out and just be like, fuck it, it's there.
That's the hardest part for me is to acknowledge the FOMO and to know that it will always be there. And I can go back into that. That's a season that I can always enter and dominate. And I did have a moment of clarity where I was out at a normal venue. I go out and I was stone cold sober.
Yeah.
And I just saw how like, it's just always going to be here. I don't need to come out every Saturday. This will always be here. What I need is another level of lifestyle and of freedom. Right now I'm happy with what I'm in a place now where I can coast. I can semi-retire, manage our team and our portfolio, and just kind of watch a little bit of the numbers and just hang out. And the income's fine. It's not, it's good. I have a comfortable living doing very little work. But I know that if I put in a lot more work, it's like exponential growth because I've done all the hard work now. All the hard work's done. Now it's just the grind. It's just the normal day-to-day, nothing sexy. I remember I'm trying to make more lifestyle posts, and we were just talking about that. I need more content because what I've achieved is pretty awesome, and I need to put that out there that I can help you to do that. And I went to go to make a day in the life post. It was on a Monday, and I did the meditation. I recorded that. I recorded a little bit of this, like, okay, make my coffee. I had this whole thing. It's gonna be a cool thing.
Yeah.
And then I put in a 12-hour day, and I didn't leave my laptop. And then by like 8 p.m. that night, I was like, oh, this is not that sexy. Maybe I should have posted it though. I don't know. But I was like, all right, well, maybe I should get a Saturday or something because, that's where the wins come is in the unsexy mass volume grind time in.
But guys, let's not BS everybody who's listening. you like doing the 12-hour shit.
I do.
Yeah, I like it too.
I do.
I mean, I'm bullshitting all management. I like it.
I absolutely do.
Like
you
today,
like it too.
today I was about to get into it.
Yeah.
Like I already started my day and I was working. The only good thing is I did shoot my content.
Yeah.
So I did my content day in the life. I went for a nice run, everything. I came back. But when I came in, I started having anxiety. And I was like, why am I having anxiety? And I was like, these guys are coming over at 12 to do the podcast, but there's a lot of work I need to do first. So when y'all started pushing things, I was like, good. So I could sit down and do stuff. But if y'all didn't show up and you were just like, yeah, bro, I would have just been like, I'll see you guys for like maybe early dinner or some stuff like that. Because again, we've programmed ourselves to put in the work. So yeah, you're right, dude.
All right, so last couple of things before we get out of here, because we got to go eat, and I'm on 16 hours we haven't eaten? It's
been a while.
Hungry. But relationships, and I'm sitting here with my two best friends I've made in the last 20 years. JK is the first one, you're the last one.
Honored to be second. I'll take silver.
But I met you late.
Yeah.
But how important are relationships? And I'll hit you first, JK, and then I'll ask, and how do you build them? I want to start by saying I have a good eye for it, and I think I'm a good people's connector. I think JK mentioned it a couple of times, and I value people, and I want to build stuff with people. And I hear this a lot. Maybe Rem can cut this out into a little thing. What do you hear online is people always say, oh, you don't want to partner with your family. They're going to be weird. You don't want to partner with your friends. You're going to be fighting all the time. You're going to lose your friendship. And I always think to them, then who are you partnering with? Some random morons from the internet? Like, it just doesn't make sense for me. My favorite people are my friends and my family, right? So who owns all of my real estate? This is not a joke, right? It's either I don't have any property by myself, and I have lots of them, right? It's either Drew's involved, or my sister's involved, or JK's involved, or Vivek's involved. A lot of the time, all of them are involved in the same deal, right? So even the house he lives in, it's owned by me, him, and Vivek, who will be here in a few hours, right? So for me, it's actually stupid not to build the stuff with people. I actually get more joy that if I have something with someone than having it by myself. I'm not even kidding. This is not like a cool thing to say. That's what I want to do. Because if somebody didn't pay rent, I know immediately who is it, Drew or my sister or Vivek? I can call and bitch, like, oh, this guy sucks. If it's not anybody, then I'm just like sitting in a castle by yourself, just counting beans. It just sounds boring to me. So anyway, I want to end it with that. And what are your thoughts on this? And how do you build a success relationships?
Okay. I think it's the depth of the relationship that counts. Not to sound cliche, right? But I do agree with you that you have a good eye for relationships and you're a very good people connector. You're obviously a better people connector than I am, and you're way more patient than I am, right? So I think you have and again, let's be honest, there's also an element of luck, right? When you think about how we met each other in the most random ways and the way everything came together. But
real quick, for people who don't know how I met JK, is we went to a swing dance in Kansas, in Wichita in 2008, and I was dancing with this hot black girl, Kayla, and some guy just showed up, and then just literally just took the girl from me, and I was like, oh, what was that? Like, I was confused. I'm like, this doesn't happen in India. I was literally off a boat, and then I'm like, fuck this guy. And then I see him at the gym the next day, and I was like, hey man, you stole the girl from me yesterday. What's up with that? He's like, oh yeah, JK. And I'm like, you work out? He's like, yeah, I work out. Let's work out.
That's literally what happened.
I love that story.
Literally what happened. And we just started hanging out like ever since.
And he said his mom was Tamil too. I'm like, this is bullshit.
Yeah. You talked to my mom too, right?
Yeah.
No, I think that the depth of the relationship is very important because I think all of us have had experiences that bonded us together. Ours was selling door to door together. There was a lot of fighting, and I was still getting to know him. But I remember very clearly, we were at what we call a sales school for training, and he trusted me. Like to come out all the way, even like while he was in college, they were like the Catholic Students Association and stuff were like harassing him. Yeah, they were harassing him because he was going out to do all these things, but he trusted me, right? So for me, that was an important thing. I was like, you're trusting me to go out to the middle of nowhere. But at the same time, I yelled at him in front of a group of people, right? And he checked me. But he checked me like, there was a long text I got, like, you don't do that shit. And then he told me in my face too. And I was like, damn. Like when he saw me, he's like, dude, you don't say that shit to me. I'll fight you and we'll die. I don't care. I was like, he always says it. He's like, you'll probably kill me, but I don't care. Like I'm going to fight. Like, and I know he means it. Like he doesn't care. He's like, I could be whooping. Who knows how it'll go? He probably kick my ass. But those intense situations and our ability to get out of them and still communicate has been important to me, because every key relationship in my life, I am able to get into conflict with the person, and regardless of the depth of the conflict, we're able to come out on the other side. And anybody who cannot weather conflict in a relationship, I just don't think it's, there's a guy on, I don't know where I heard him, and I'll just end it with this. He said, in your long-term relationships, choose whoever your partners are, whether intimate or friendship, based on their ability to suffer. So when you look at people, you're just like, how much suffering can this dude actually take in life, right? And you will notice that the people, they may not show it, but these are people who can endure the worst fucking suffering. You're like, why haven't you killed yourself yet? And they laugh about it or some shit, but they're suffering. And you're just like, damn, this person can suffer. And I found that that's a great barometer for relationships, because those are the people you want around you. You want people who can deal with what they call biblically like long suffering. Like they can just...
This is why some of my advice for guys who are thinking about locking down the one, which is the most important decision of your life, I always advise traveling. Like 2-3 days, camping trip, Joshua Tree, 2 hours, whatever. Because you're going to be tested. No matter what, something's going to come up, tire's going to go flat, and you're going to see them in real time. I think it's important. So I'm just kind of adding on to what you're saying. And business and friendships as well. I've had friendships just completely collapse because I see them crumble in those moments. I'm like, oh, not crumble, but I'm like, I take 2 steps back. I'm like, cool, you're not reliable in that kind of moment. And I've been surprised by certain friends that he hates or just thinks is a waste of time, that have stepped up in certain scenarios where I'm like, I didn't see that coming, but he was willing to take a blow for me, And so I think having those moments, those conflicts, I think that's, again, not to add to more cliches, that's where coal becomes diamonds, is in the pressure moments. And that's, I think, what's made our company better. And for me, I've learned to have a lot more openness towards, instead of taking meetings and just I'm directing it, this is what I'm doing, now I'm like, no, what do you think? Some of these people are paid $20 an hour, but I'm like, yeah, but like, what are your thoughts on this? How should I handle it? If you were the CEO, what would you do? I ask those questions a lot, and it's a game changer.
Also, the growth of the people that you're friends with, that's very important. If all of us didn't have, that's the common denominator. I don't know if you guys have picked up, is we are very growth mindset people. Yes. All of us, like everybody.
I think that's number one why we are so connected, even though we're so different.
I think the minute somebody in our group, this may sound a little cold, but we are rough on each other. The minute one person,
I already know what you're saying.
No, and the minute one person in the group stops growing, it's almost like the pack turns on them and goes like, if you guys heard us or saw some of our messages that we use to pull each other up, you'd be like, these guys are toxic as fuck, because we have zero tolerance for what is going on?
Brutal.
Why are you not growing? Like you can't, we'll never say you can't be in this if you're not. It's very organic. It's just like, don't forget that the reason that we are friends with you, because as you get older, it thins out, especially as you start entering your 40s. The people you can spend time with are very few. And then when you choose to live non-conventional lives like us, you're just like, I want to live free. There's so many societal things that we don't follow. We break it, and we actually don't care. Like, we'll do shit. We're just like, you guys are crazy. And we literally don't care. We're just like, we don't care. All our friends, including Vivek. Vivek does some stuff. We're just like, he doesn't care either. He just really doesn't care. So that ability to be growth-oriented and hold each other accountable to it, I think that's really important, man. I think that's a good one you brought up. There was one more thing on my mind with what you mentioned about friendship and business, which I think takes us all the way back to the beginning of this episode, which was, I think we haven't faced that issue of like friendships falling apart around business because we've always fit like a jigsaw puzzle into each other's strengths. So wherever somebody is weaker, the other person is quickly willing to come in. So like, for instance, like I'm not in a stage in my life right now personally where I can coach guys in my program when it comes to dating, but Drew is, right? So I'm quick to just be like, hey man, can you just do that? I know you're a busy guy, do anything. And Drew's like, I don't care. Like I pay him, but he's still like, it's something that's just fun for him. He can do it with his eyes closed. And most of the time he probably does. And then he does it excellently, right? Or investing, what we talked about earlier. Just accepting the fact that there's no way that I'm going to invest as fast as I could in real estate without you guys. The only way that would happen would be probably if I sold one of my companies, came into a windfall, and spent the money on buying a bunch of real estate. But you guys wouldn't even let me do that because you'd be like, nope, I know you think you want to buy like 600 units, but that's not the play. This is a different play.
Vance would browbeat you.
I know you would not let me do that. And the crazy thing is, my ego wouldn't be so big as to do something like that either. I would still be like, this guy has a point because he knows me personally. So I know because he gives a shit about me and the values we have. Let's not forget that. I think all of us in our group have a value of family. I think when you hear about a lot of people who they get into business and their friendship falls apart, I hate to be judgmental in this way, but I feel that in the US, people are very individualistic. I see so many people estranged from their family. And don't get me wrong, it's not like I have the perfect relationship with my family. But regardless of whether I don't talk to certain family members, you best believe that if they're in trouble, I'm going to help them. I may talk shit about them or whatever, but I got their back till I die. And that's the case with all of us here. Like family is so important. And when you hang out with people and you watch their character, and you're like, I watch how they treat their family members. I watch how they think about them. Those are the people you want to be around, especially when you're a man who hasn't really, you don't have kids or anything like that. So what else are you going to look at to judge another man? You're not going to be like, oh, where's your wife and your kids? You're going to be like, how do you treat your parents? Like, how do you treat those who are close to you? And for men like us, I may be wrong, I feel like that's the barometer of our friendship and what makes business and friendship work. I think there are lots of deeper values there,
Yeah, I think so too. I think Drew's also he loves his mom and stuff like that. That's good. I'm like that, and you're like that too. Yeah, man, that was a good talk. Last thing, unless Drew, you have anything else? How the hell are you in shape for 20 years straight? And I joined the journey with him for about a decade, and I was able to keep up, not as much as muscle mass, but I was pretty lean. But I fell off the wagon after my last breakup. I gained 30 pounds, guys. Come on, guys. You got to be 2-something to do something, guys. That's.
I love it.
Yeah. But JK is probably the same weight. What are you, 205?
No, now 197.
197. So I'm 10 pounds more than JK, almost. And JK is still lean as hell. So give us the book. What's going on? How are you staying in shape? How are you keeping the mass on?
Simple answer. Body image issues. I'm joking, but I'm not joking. I grew up really skinny. They used to call me Skelly when I was growing up. Skeleton. Skeletor? Skeleton. Yeah. No, I wish I was Skeletor from He-Man. He was jacked, right? Jacked. His face was the only thing that was a skeleton. But I had a lot of insecurity around that, and then trying to build up my confidence in my 20s. I looked at myself, my face, a lot of the guys who were, again, this comes down to like knowing your strengths and the game you're playing. And I was like, you know what? Facially, in terms of aesthetics, there's some really good looking guys out there with great bone structure and stuff like that. I was like, I'm not one of those guys.
Thank you very much for the compliment.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, right. We have one right here. This dude is like 40. Does not look like it.
150 pounds over here.
Does nothing. Just like
50.
Rolls out of bed. He's like, guys, I need to sleep for like 15 hours, a coffee, and I'll be good. Yeah, and I'll be great. And he'll go like he's 20, right? But working on my body was one of the things that I knew that I had to work on. And when you're in your early 20s, life is very more superficial. And I remember earlier on, I talked about leaning into your stereotype. So it was like, I saw that the black, skinny, nerdy guys were not getting any play, but the jacked guys were. So I became jacked. That was the main reason. I did it for validating myself. But what it did for me was it built my confidence. And I tell guys still today, guys are like going to therapy and accepting yourself and all of that. I actually don't agree with that stuff early on in life. I think early on in life, you need to get the thing you missed. There's a guy who got validation because he was a jock in school. His parents told him that they loved him or whatever. And then there's you and me who didn't get much of that shit if we didn't, right? So you have to learn how to love yourself and get the validation in your adult life. Now, is it healthy to keep that into your 30s and your 40s? No. But in your 20s, I tell guys, go out there, get jacked, get good looking, go date many women, and get the validation. Finally, when you get to a point where you're like, okay, cool, I've dated the women I wanted to date, I've made some money, I've done X, Y, Z, and let it go. The problem is when guys don't let it go. So in my case, it went from the aesthetic to I got to a point where I was setting values in life. And I was like, okay, how can I connect the aesthetic of my physique to the things that are important to me right now moving on? So it's like, okay, cool. Like a person with a certain type of physique is viewed with respect. And I know this sounds like very douche bro kind of thing to say. Some people respect it, some people don't. I understand it. But always a man, the way he looks, you are judged by that. When you're in your 20s and early 30s, maybe nobody cares. But when you're 40, you're starting to enter the level of attrition where there are not many people who look that way. And I think it's important to maintain your looks. Then the second thing is your health, obviously, right? It's if I can carry muscle mass as long as I can, I'm less likely to be injured. And I think you know me. I don't think, have you ever seen me injured?
No, not really.
Touch
Just
wood
like
that I never do that.
Some shoulder stuff here and there.
Yeah, like some little things, but I think carrying muscle mass, being fit, being strong is really important. And then the final thing I learned was part of the ADHD thing is that I realized that I never medicated my ADHD. I didn't know how to do it. So
don't do it.
Yeah. No, I've tried. I've experimented with stuff, but it has too many side effects and it shuts down my personality changes and I don't like it. But I realized that working out literally releases endorphins. So that's why you'll find me like I'll run before a workout, I'll run before my workday starts, I'll run in the middle of the day. But all these things buy me like 4 hours of focus when I work out. So I didn't realize this again till maybe earlier this year. I was like, so one of the reasons that people with ADHD work out a lot is because it buys them focus time after that. So it was also a coping mechanism, so to speak. But you asked why, which is interesting. I will say that it's something that people have to make a choice to do, man. And you have to find your own reason, right? Like I have my own reasons for that, but you have to find yours. And maybe the reasons are healthy, maybe they are unhealthy. As long as you know that there's a way that you can connect it later on to something deeper, I think it's fine. I absolutely think it's fine for people to start something for an unhealthy reason if they're like, this is the only thing that motivates me. Like was it Jim Rohn that said, there are too many people who are writing down a to-do list and positive things when more people should actually just on their mirror, put a Post-it note and go like, hey, I'm 36 years old. I'm 39 years old. I'm broke. I have a negative net worth. I'm a piece of shit. And I don't have anything. If I die today, I have no trust. I have nothing for my family. And look at that shit every day and use it to motivate them. When you get out on the other side of that, you can do the same thing with your body. This is how I look. This is how I feel. Fuck it. I hate it. But when you've used that toxic energy to get to a certain place, flip it. At that point, you have the net worth, you have the body. Who cares? Yeah. Just switch it up and you'll probably be healthy.
Now you probably have the habit. It's just, this is what I do, right?
You know, I would say what has been tough, I would say for me is maybe most people can relate to it. I was pretty lean for a long time. It's very easy to motivate myself. All I have to do is look in the mirror and I'll be like, yeah, cool. I need to, drop a pound here, get another ab looking, whatever, the good lighting. But now, well, I've dropped a little bit, so it's like I put on some muscle. I've been like lifting, but it's slowly getting back there. But for a long time, it's very difficult because you don't look good. And then I'm like, oh, I don't look good anyway. The only thing that'll make me happy is a bag of cashew nuts. It's over. You would think that I'm like smoking cigarettes and like eating a bunch of stuff. No, I'm like eating like stupid shit, which will just, just like eating like protein bars and just getting getting the dopamine hit, right, from the food. That's what I get from it. It's just like sitting in the garage. And also, I'm not going out as much.
I was just going to say,
I'm sitting at home with food.
When you go out, I see you like turn on. Like it's almost weird to watch you just go from not going out ever to going out, and you just have fun. You meet people, you're friendly, everyone loves you. You have a natural charm that I think is, you don't see it because you've just built it over time of Bible sales or whatever. Yeah. But you're instantly going out, having a good time, stone cold sober. And I see that. I'm like, why doesn't he do this all the time? And I do think if you went out like once a week, just to go out, have some dinner, and just be in the world, meeting new people, I really do think it would mitigate a lot of those symptoms of what you say is depression. I think it would also motivate you to do, getting more lean, dressing sharp. You'd be in the environment where people are kind of dressing sharp, like, oh yeah, I kind of like doing that. I kind of like wearing a tie once in a while. And breaking yourself out of that comfort zone, like we were saying earlier, I do think that it would be healthy for you just for that reason alone. And if you happen to meet the love of your life, mother of your children, I mean, that's a wonderful bonus. But, not to call you out too hard, but I don't think you're going to meet that girl unless you go out once a week.
What, you're saying she's not in my garage?
She's not in your garage, is what I'm saying.
What about my 100-inch TV?
She's coming out of the TV. Now we're back on the porn thing. But yeah, because I know you well, and I know where you're at, where your head's at, and that's why, for me, I do think the onus is on me to be like super hardcore work mode, whether that's me having to hire, fire, retrain, and be kind of a dick, whatever I need to do. Because I've done this now once with another business and I've seen it work without me, I know the steps. I know what I got to do. I know where I need to be firm and where I can be gentle. And I know how to train people on how to be better and how to do what I do, and I need to stop thinking I'm so special. I know that I can train anybody to do whatever they need to do.
This is why you need good relationships and friends, guys. People will call you out on your stuff. And, it's Prashant was asking me the other day, and he was going one by one, like, okay, so does Vivek ever piss you off when you guys have fights? I'm like, not really. And then what about JK? I'm like, hell yeah, all the time. And then he's like, do you stay mad? I'm like, no, not even like for 1 second after it's already gone. I've already punched him in the arm. Yeah. And Drew, I'm like, every day we're pissed 100% of the time. But then I gave away all of the stuff I have to him because, what else are you going to do, It's just you have like a very closeness with people that you build. Like my sister too, we fight, but she wants everything I have. She wants the house. That's crazy. So that's what I will leave it as: good relationships, good friends, travel the world with your friends. Drew mentioned, you never know, you might not have tomorrow, but don't be like a grasshopper like JK, just, flying from country to country every other day. Yeah. But, try to save some stuff too. But any last words, guys? I'm good.
No, I felt that was really great. I'm excited to do a round 2 somewhere in a different country next year.
Yeah, I want to echo what you said about the traveling the world. I think one of the best things that happened was 2 years ago when we went to Greece and you finally left the US.
Last year, bro.
Last year, wow, bro. We've traveled a lot.
You've been to 6 countries in a year.
That's insane. Yeah. That's insane. I remember traveling with you guys and I just remember going like, this is like so crazy. Like, let's make it happen again. Yeah. I think also being able to do it later on in life is key because you're more mature. So you see the financial value, you see the world in a more mature way. Like imagine that you're just like a kid, you're backpacking, you're just having fun, so you don't see things. You don't wonder like, well, how much does this place cost? I wonder what it costs. Does it have foundation problems? Like, what's the political situation? Or we'll go a place and he's like, yeah, I can tell you this place is going to be socialist and fall apart. Why? Because like protesting on the street, like the depth of understanding and appreciation you have from a place is different,
So what's the next country, guys? Come on, leave it on the pod. Is Drew's 40th, so.
My 40th.
You tell us, Drew.
In about 7 months?
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's Bangkok. Bali.
Thailand? Is that Thailand? Indonesia?
Oh, Bali's in Indonesia.
Yep.
But yeah, and either one, they're next to each other.
Yeah.
Just make it a Southeast Asia thing.
I haven't been to Asia in 20 years, guys.
Yeah,
I was born and raised there.
We're going back. India.
It's about time, dude. Yeah, don't do your 4th year in India.
hey, you're half Indian.
Yeah, to be determined.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll probably get one with Vivek and Prashant tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Laters.
I don't know about you, but I definitely like to see 5-star reviews on any service or any product before I purchase. Please take a second to leave us a 5-star review, whether you're listening to it on Apple, iTunes, or Spotify, or whatever platform. Take a second, goes a long way, helps us a lot to grow the channel, and thanks for listening.